begin today with Pet Perspectives with Ada Animal Hospital and Dr. Jenny Norman. You know, the last week of September is Deaf Dog Awareness Week, and caring for a deaf dog requires some education, and it pays off. But the payoff, though, is incredibly rewarding, though.
It is.
You know, and so Dr. Jenny Norman from Ada Animal Hospital in Rocco are here to help us understand a little more. Now, Dr. Norman, you obviously have a lot of experience in this area.
Yes.
Rocco is a dog with disabilities, right?
He is, yes.
Yeah, but as mentioned, though, there's a lot of reward, though, that comes with this, too.
There can be. I mean, just the bond you can develop with one of these dogs when you break through with how to communicate with them and work with them can be really rewarding. I mean, the dogs, they just light up, you see it, and it's such a great experience. So I always encourage people, just because a pet has disabilities, don't let that deter you from, you know, taking them in, adopting, or worrying about them as they get older. I mean, your dog could have been normal its whole life, and age happens to the best of us, unfortunately.
Yeah, how old is Rocco now?
He's getting close to 13 now.
My goodness. Yes.
And he's just in his second act. He's on TV now, so there's plenty of life. There's plenty of life still.
There is plenty of life still. All right, but let's talk about deaf dogs in particular, right? So there are some key tips that you have, though, for somebody whose dog might be going deaf.
Correct.
Or maybe they are considering adopting a dog that's deaf.
So one of the key things is, you know, preparing your dog basically for the world. And so I do think having tags or collars or leashes that say deaf dog on it is a good signal to everyone around. That's going to then, people will be cautious approaching your pet, so they're not going to be overwhelmed by everything. So starting with that, and then working on hand signaling with them. Everyone's really good with training in our commands, sit, stay, but for any dog, you know, any dog, when you're starting with training, incorporate hand signals, so as they get older and they start to lose that hearing, they know to look for you, they know what those hand signals are, and that's going to give your pet a lot more comfort as well.
That's a great idea. Okay, so the importance then, obviously, when you're training your pet to do those hand signals from when they're a pup, even if they are a hearing dog at that point, there is the high potential that they might start to lose their hearing later in life.
Exactly. We're taking great care of our pets, so they're living longer, so we have to start considering that we're going to run into other things as they age.
Yeah.
So starting when they're young.
Okay.
Or again, if you adopt a deaf pet, working on those hand signalings, using treats and rewards so they learn to look at you, and that's going to strengthen their bond with you too. They're going to rely on you a lot for that.
And to that point where you were mentioning making sure that they have a tag, or on the collar you can have it embroidered saying, you know, deaf dog. Should you, as a pet owner, also maybe have a little spiel, if you will, to let people know that your pet is deaf? Because even though it says deaf dog, there might be some viewers who wouldn't even know what to do in that space.
Exactly, you know? And one of the biggest things with that, especially when you're out at a park or in public, is being aware of other dogs.
Yeah.
So if your dog is deaf, they're going to rely on you for that dog that may be growling or starting to raise its hackles, or, you know, something else, or a car that's coming by. They're not hearing that. They're not aware of that. So your dog's not picking up those safety signals. So you need to be hyper aware of that, but also informing other people when they come up, you know, just letting them know you need to be extra cautious of how your dog is signaling, because mine may not react, but also not startling a deaf dog. That's a huge, huge one as well. In public or even in the home, if they're not looking at you, if your dog's asleep at home, finding a way to kind of signal, maybe always touching them in the same spot, or kind of gently touching the ground or the bed next to them to alert them to you without just touching them directly, because that can be scary. And one of their big instincts may be to turn around and bite whoever just startled them that way. So that's a big, big safety thing for everyone.
And I like the fact that you use the word instinct, right? So it's not a malicious intent if a dog does that. They're not being harmful. It's just that instinct of protection when they're uncertain of what just occurred.
Exactly.
Right?
And they didn't have any warning for it, and all of a sudden someone's there. I mean, we would be reactive too. And that's just all that they're doing there. Yeah,
it's instinctual. It's that, you know, that second brain that's responding. Without much thought. And how important, though, is scent to a deaf dog?
It's really important. Their other senses, they really need those, because they can't hear that, they can't get their bearings with that. So letting them take extra time on walks, letting them really smell and mark things out that way, great for their just mental stimulation, but also how they learn to function too.
Yeah.
They need those other signals. They can't hear, they can't track and mark things with hearing.
Yeah.
So scent is the big one that they end up
So
relying
if you're
on.
going to introduce a deaf dog to another dog, maybe explaining to that other pet owner, my dog's deaf, we really need to do a nice, gentle, slow introduction so they can
Exactly.
smell each other for maybe a little longer than normal.
Yep, see
Yeah,
each other,
see each
make
other.
sure that when they're being
Yeah.
introduced, it's with direct sight.
Yeah.
And again, not coming up from the side or behind
Yeah.
and startling.
So before we wrap, I just
Yes.
want to say this. I was always taught when approaching a dog you don't know, and you always go slow up front, let them smell you first before you even try to reach out and pet.
Exactly.
So that's just a good thing to do
In general,
regardless.
yes,
in
it is.
general, okay. But that also, though, would be very beneficial if you are approaching a deaf dog.
Exactly.
So, Dr. Norman, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's good to be
we
here.
greatly appreciate all the knowledge you share with us. Where can people go to learn more?
You can go to our website, idaanimal.com, or give us a call, 208-362-5329. Always
Wonderful.
happy to answer questions.
Oh, love it. Thank you so much. And thank you, Rocco.
Yes, he's off
Such
exploring.
a great mascot. All right, Idaho Today will be right back after the break.